All right, we back. Episode, I think it's 73. I've been forgetting them for months, what episodes we're on. A.M.University, episode 73. Great to be back. I had to sneak this episode in because we just finished our first varsity season at KIPP. We just finished our first varsity season at KIPP. First varsity basketball season ever in the school history. And it was a ride. It was a ride to say the least. But I would be remiss if I wouldn't say that it couldn't have been as amazing as it was without the people here, and we missing one, and my boy Justin. So before we get into it, I go my right to y'all left. Coach Butter. How that sound?
That sounds good.
How that sound? Coach
sounds
Butter.
Good. Coach Butter sounds good.
Coach Till. What's up, big dog?
What's going
How
on?
you living?
What's going on? Chilling.
And the engine that make it all go. We wouldn't be none of this without this guy to my left, y'all right? Coach HAAS.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? I said I just got a flashback of the schedule. I just got a flashback of it. Just think about that. How you living?
Coach HAAS.
Now you all humble.
Yeah, right. He ain't never humble on the sidelines.
So, again, like, all these guys know the game, but it's a different monster when you're on the sideline as a high school basketball coach, right? So, when building my program, I always wanted a couple components. I always wanted, guys that can actually physically do things with the kids instead of us just verbally talking to them, physically get out on the court and show them what they need to learn. But more specifically, whatever community I was in, I wanted guys from the community, like preferably black men from the community, because we're dealing with black and brown young men, right? Guys that really understand. Like, a lot of people think in coaching that it's a lot about X's and O's. Like, it's really not. Like, that's like a small 20, 15%, 10% of what really matters. It's about the relationships. And if you went through those relationships, you know these people in the community, you know these parents, you know these situations like the back of your hand because you went through it. It makes the transition a lot more easier for us to build those relationships and move on with those kids. Let me start with HAAS and Butter, because y'all coming from a player's background, right? Like, y'all never actually technically coached on a sideline, right? Let's start with Butter. How was that transition for you coming to the high school ranks and being on the sideline?
It was pretty hard because at first my first real coaching job, I coached 8th grade at Sterling. And we went to the championship. We lost. It was different coming from 8th grade going to high school, because in 8th grade I felt like the kids, they're young, they already gotta respect you. You feel what I'm saying? So at that level, like, I gotta respect my elders, do this, like, what I'm saying, listen to coach, whatever. Going to high school is different, because it's like you gotta gain that respect for them to actually listen and feed into what you buying. You feel what I'm saying? It was hard. That was the only hard aspect. If we didn't have this core that we have now, I don't know how it would have went. You feel what I'm saying? Us being strong black men from the city, like you said, and going through what we went through and playing the game that we played, and actually, from the old school era where we actually know the game and learned the game the right way, and trying to instill it into these kids nowadays, it was actually challenging. But once you get their respect, it was uphill from there.
Right.
It was really uphill from there, and like I told y'all last time when we was in the locker room, that it was, at first I didn't really have the belief of them actually going far, and it wasn't so much of the talent, it was just more of the mindset of them listening to us and feeding into us what we feeding into them, building into them. So once they got it, the coaching started getting easier, and us building the coaching core that we had, it started being more better.
As for me, I never had that coaching experience. I always been a player. So to use a metaphor, it's almost like, from becoming a son to being a father. As a player, you're the son. But when you become a father, things change. You have to learn how to be a father. And as I was coaching, I learned a lot through you and Till because I got a lot of correction. You know, even when you're the first time father, you don't know it all. So you got to get the correction from people that can teach you or give you the wisdom how to be a father or how to be a coach to students, especially students that don't know who you are. Most of these kids don't know who I am as far as being a coach. So the respect level is not going to be there. And just like Butter said, you have to gain that respect from the kids. And as the season went on, as they started listening and understanding who I am as a coach, it got easier. It got easier.
All right, Coach Till, you slightly different circumstances. I recruited you. So I knew what I was getting with you, even if you might not have knew. You know, you might have came in nervous and because you was always a coach, but you was never technically like in it the way that you was in it this year. You was actually a real life like assistant coach with responsibilities of head coach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How was your transition from, you know, being a part of other programs, but really being a part of this program?
I was recruited. Seriously, it was definitely a challenge. It was different because when I first started out coaching at the high school level, I was like an assistant, but I was in the background just doing stats. I didn't really have responsibilities of running a practice. I didn't have responsibility of drawing up plays and setting up defense and putting people in different positions to do great on the team. So I was kind of like in the background, just, you know, okay, coach, what you need? I got it. You know, this kid had 30 turnovers or this kid had 10 rebounds. And I mean, I didn't have a responsibility of now I'm at the point where I could win or lose a game based on the decision I made. So it was definitely a challenge, but it was good. It felt good to be in that position because that's something I always want to be. You know the story. I always wanted to be in. So the transition to that was basically it. Like now, when I speak, somebody's listening. When the position I was in before. You would listen to me, but you just doing that as a courtesy, like, I got this guy on my squad.
That's true.
And it's like, okay, do I really listen to him, or I'm just gonna take what he's saying, whatever.
That's a good idea, Coach. I think.
And now
and they don't run it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like now it's at the point where it's like, okay, if I'm giving you, my suggestion or my opinion, I feel like it's going forward better, and it's being receptive from you and all the other coaches. When again, like I said before, it was just like, hey, yeah, like a yes man type situation. So that's what I looked at it.
Oh, I definitely don't want to keep going without shouting out Justin. For those that don't know Justin, man, like he's a gift from God. Like I've never seen him more mature. What, he 23, 24, something like that.
Yeah.
Like he's on our staff as well. I've never seen a more mature 23-year-old in my life.
Real humble, quiet guy.
And he played an integral part in this year.
Jay definitely,
Jay
definitely did his thing.
Was saying that. All right, that's one transition. Let's talk about the other transition with dealing with these badass kids that we got to try to mold into young men, into basketball players. Like I think Butter alluded to it a little bit. Like I really think people don't, like when we say the success that we had this year, people might look at it surface level, like the surface level answer of it, like, oh, you did this, you had these many wins, you beat this team, you almost did this in the playoffs. But that ain't what I mean. Like nobody see the things that we had to deal with behind the scenes with these kids.
Every day.
Like we was at such of a disadvantage. Again, I was just on Bird's show. You already looked at as the little cousins of Canada High and Wilson. Right. The kids look at it that way. The parents look at it that way. They supposed to just come in and do whatever. We in an entitled society. You got to earn the respect of the kid. Like that kind of sound insane coming from the generation we come from. But you're right. Yeah. It's the reality. you know, and you just building a program. And whenever you building a program on top of that, like nobody think that you're right, because who are you for us to think that we're right? On top of the trauma that these kids and these families are dealing with every single day. You mold all of that into one. I'm gonna start with Butter. I never heard Butter get so many headaches in my life. I never heard Tillery scream. HAAS almost cursed.
I think he did. I think he did. I think he did. Good. Come on, we can
edit that one.
It was plenty of times. I'm doing the book. You just hear HAAS. I'm like, oh, bro, chill out.
How you transition with that, Butter?
It like I said, man, it was hard. It was hard because then like you had to really see just not the basketball aspect of it, because these kids come in with a lot of trauma from home, right? And the only way they can take it out is on people that's not their parents. You feel what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
And we was the people that they took it out of on. But once you beat that barrier down and really start to like talk to them and really see like what's going on, instead of just not even just like the basketball thing, and really see what this kid may need to succeed in life. And once you get by that, you good. And then it's like the thing that I always did. I was just being myself. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me about anything, life, anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would try to be that father figure that they didn't have. So that's how I really gained like mostly all my respect from the kids. But it really was a challenge, and I really had to really say that I really appreciated the challenge because it made me grow as a man and wanted to really help more kids besides just basketball. You know what I'm saying? The basketball thing came second. And that's how it was for me. Like, it was a challenge though.
Too.
Oh boy. And it's funny you said you never seen me scream before. That's because these kids push my patience.
I was laughing so much in my head, but I had to be serious because you was serious and it was a serious yeah. But I'm like, he don't yell, yo.
It's like
You don't.
It don't even sound right. I'm yelling.
But it's because I'm so passionate about this, man. I'm so passionate about working with young men and the youth, and basketball is my way to reach them. And it's like, coming from where I'm coming from, I'm not gonna say probably, I am the oldest on this panel right here. And coming from where I came from New York, like, we took basketball was our way to get out.
Right.
And it's like, throughout the season, it was like, they took it as a joke for us. And like, we out here putting our all into it, and it was like, a lot of the things that they was doing was like, whatever, I'm just doing it just to do it. And it kind of was hitting me to the point where I was getting upset, like in practice, like, you practice how you play. And then how we played some games was from how we practiced leading up to that game. And it was just like, it was just frustrating, but like Butter said, I had to take in consideration of the kids and everything they dealing with, and put that in perspective where I'm giving them tough love. I'm going to still hold you accountable, but I'm also going to have grace and mercy too. I'm also going to be there to big you up, but I'm also going to be there to punch in your chest if you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Facts.
So this year was challenging. It was definitely challenging with that. I believe I built a lot of relationships with the kids where they can come talk to me about things that have nothing to do with basketball, which is always one of my goals. But yeah, it was just frustrating because it was like what I said, we want to play ball. And these kids was like, I'm doing it for the gram. That was my motto. That was my motto all year for them. Like, you doing this.
Or Miller, send me a picture.
Send my picture. Like, you have a game, and the whole game you have 30 turnovers, but when you post on Instagram, it's that one layup you made. Like, that to me was like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you really here for? So it was things like that that was getting me frustrated throughout the year, but I would not ever trade it for anything. It was the process from the beginning to where we ended up at, and how they started and where they ended. They had to, everything that we was telling them in the beginning, they had to see. And I believe going through the season, they saw the things that we said, and they started believing and trusting a little bit more. Right. So for me, that was the big plus for me.
This was a real tough one for me.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Because I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to get out of characters too many times, but it helped me to practice patience. It helped me to practice long suffering and meekness, because you get so caught up of being a basketball player that you think these kids should be able to do what you do, especially if you see them, they're younger and they should be more talented. When you see certain kids more talented than you were at the age that they are, and they don't produce what you need them to produce, it gets so frustrated to the point where you're like, man, what's wrong with these little guys, man? Like, what's really wrong with y'all? Like, you get so angry. But then I had to realize who I am besides just a basketball coach. You know what I mean? And in being a minister in the city of Camden is hard within itself, because everybody see you for who you used to be, right? And when you're dealing with kids that push your buttons all the time, and you get out of character, then people say, aha, I thought you was who you say you were. So I learned through this process with the kids that maybe I need to be more humble. Maybe I need to be more meek, and maybe I need to learn more patience. So dealing with the kids, even though, fighting with their behaviors, it taught me a lot about me. You know what I mean? And it wasn't just they were doing everything wrong. Nah, I had to grow a little bit in order to teach them something. And that's what I got out of the most. Besides like all the difficulties that we had to face on the court, them not listening. And Twan told me plenty of times, HAAS, they're not like you, they're not you, they're not you. And I had to keep getting reminded of that, because I'm like, nah, they should be doing this, and that. And he's like, nah, HAAS, you can't put them on your level. You can't put them on your level. You got to step back and see them from where they're at. And so, again, I would love to say all the things like, oh, I taught them this, and that. No, but this year was a learning process for me.
Yeah, I said it all the time. Like, everybody asked me, well, how the season going? I said, I'm not coaching this year. Like, what do you mean? Like, we're not basketball coaches. Like, basketball is in the rearview mirror. Like, as an actual coach, it's so many other things that we got to overcome before we get to the actual basketball coaching part. We did what we did this year. I hope y'all know that, without coaching basketball.
Oh yeah.
We haven't had a chance to coach basketball because we got to teach this kid literally how to tie a shoe, or how to read, or something like that, or like we gonna translate to the basketball court when the kid is nervous in life, or scared of his own reflection, or dealing with this, or dealing with that, or dealing with that. I'm just listening to y'all talk, man, and I'm thinking about the couple situations that we had to deal with, and it's like, yo, being able to like bounce off of each other, like as men, and especially as black men, like it's an incredible feeling, bro. Like hearing what you said about me, like I come vent to you at times, damn sure vent to Till about whole other things, Butter, like we all being able to talk to each other and express our feelings about how we feel, because people don't think you're supposed to be human as a coach either. Right. Like you're supposed to just be criticized and all these stones thrown at you, and you're supposed to just brush it off. I don't care how talented or experienced you are, you're still a human being, and dealing with these kids. We got to take the brunt of that. We got to take the brunt of the parents that ain't do their job. Right. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, I ain't touch on that one.
You know what I'm saying? We got
a transportation invoice.
Yeah. Listen,
like
I wrote all my miles down.
Like gas bills,
I wrote all my mileage down, man. You crazy? I'm looking for some compensation.
That's funny. That's real.
Nah,
That's
bro,
real,
hold up.
bro. That's
Let me
real.
say this real quick.
He said the truth.
I
He
have
said shit
never, I have never had to drive a kid to a game at a high school level.
Yeah, never.
That's crazy.
In the high school level, they was driving cars themselves.
No, we had a
Yeah,
it was set up.
Yeah, the bus.
So that's the type of stuff that he's told we had to deal with. Like we had to drive kids to a high school game.
Every game. Not some, every game.
Pick them up,
the whole year.
take them home.
And it's crazy too, cause like you look at these parents, like some of these parents, and they come at you like, yo, don't talk to my kid like that, or you know, he needs to get in the game and this and that. Like it's funny hearing that because like you look at like me, I played ball all over the place, and just knowing some of these parents, I never seen you a day in my life play ball. You know what I'm saying? I never seen none of that, so you can't really tell a coach that's doing a hell of a job what to do with your kid. And then as we grew up, it was more so our coaches was our father figure, so they had the green light to cuss us out. Mm-hmm. They had the green light to put us in check. They had a green light to check on us and do all that. Nowadays, it seems like that's non-existent. You know what I'm saying? You can't even do that nowadays.
They don't understand that we spend more time with their kids than they do.
Facts. And you're right. And
Or they do understand it and they don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that could be true too.
Yeah.
That could be true too.
We spend more time with your kid during school because that's just besides basketball.
Right.
We spend 8 hours with your kids.
Right.
And then we spend 2 to 3 hours after school with your kid.
Right.
And then we got to take them home after that.
All right.
What are they doing? Taking a shower, eating, doing homework, and going to bed?
All right.
At the end of the night?
That sounds good, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
that sounded good, bro.
Sounded good.
I get where
we
you're
spend more
going.
time with these kids than some of these parents do.
Right.
And
I
we
get
see
it.
most of their behaviors, whether it's good or bad, more than they do. Yeah. So we should have some type of leverage on allowing us to correct your child, especially in the basketball atmosphere.
Right. I think with that being said, I think Twan did a hell of a job as a head coach, like just ignoring that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Not even like even paying that no mind really, because that could get to you as a person. You know what I'm saying? If you got pride issues, that's what I loved about this coach staff. It was never like a pride issue with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because like sometimes, like Till said earlier, it's hard being an assistant coach when you might see something on the court and then this never happened with Twan, but like say you say something to Twan and Twan like, all right, and then don't just wave you off, that's a pride issue. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
We never had none of that. You know what I'm saying? We always listen to Twan, we always listen to Till, how you had your input, I had my input on certain things.
Jay
That's
as
what
well.
and Jay, my bad, Jay. And that's what I loved about it because I felt like with us, it was no pride issues involved.
And being able to accept you're wrong. If I say something to Twan, be like, nah, Haas, that ain't it.
You got cussed out a couple times. I never seen Twan cuss a man out on the sideline. You got cussed out a couple times. Yo, listen, y'all. Haas will be on the sideline, and Haas is the most humble guy you ever see in life. But he's so passionate about the game, like you get him like, man, what you doing out there? You know what I'm saying? Then Miller guy walk by him, smooth ass Miller walk by like, Haas ain't the time right now.
I didn't know how to get coached on the sideline. I was a basketball player.
But that was the good thing about it, that we can check each other when we wrong. You know what I'm saying? And then we did that with the kids too. And as the season got on, like I said, it got easier with them because they start buying into like, yo, Mr. Butter, Coach Butter, Coach Till, Coach Miller, Coach Haas, Coach Jay, they really care.
Right.
They start to really see that we just ain't here to make y'all play basketball and have y'all out there and get our names up just to look good. No, we really actually care about you. I don't give a fuck if we lose by 20. As long as you play the game the right way, that's how it was. We can care less about how the game went. You play hard, you play the game the right way, and we can live with that.
And you just answered, basically just answered my next segue. And you know why we could put our pride and ego, because we got ego and pride.
Oh yeah,
I was going to tell you
Every single one of us got ego and pride, but you know why we put it to the side? Why are we really here?
The kids.
For the kids.
100%.
I would hope so. I would hope every coach in America and everybody that's acting like they doing this is really here for the kids.
Right.
That's what we are.
Right.
You know, so that's not going to get in the way of whatever we deem is right as a group, because we're here for the kids. It's not about us.
Right.
And that, like you said, that's the most beautiful part about the coach staff. What you about to say?
Now I was going to tap into the ego thing, and I'm saying for me, like it was times during the game when I looked at Jay, like, yo, Jay, what you see? Jay came up and drove a play. I stepped back, let Jay do it, because it wasn't about me. If he saw something that I didn't see, I knew how I felt to be in that situation where you say something and the coach is like, oh, I got you, but then don't implement it, or don't take it, like don't take it in and kind of use it, or just even take it into consideration. So with the ego thing with this group here, it was just like the best ever. I felt comfortable around every single person. I could be myself. I could say what I gotta say, do what I gotta do, and that's how it went for me for the season.
We laughed a lot.
Oh yeah, we have.
People understand how
We laughed during the game.
We laughed during the game.
we laughed a whole
Only person that ain't laughing during the games is Mill. I ain't gonna hold you. Mill, once Mill locked in, he is locked in. He ain't paying us no mind. We on the sidelines cracking up, and then HAAS is never mind. I ain't even gonna get HAAS cracking jokes, but it was just funny. Like, it was funny, man. It was a great experience.
No, and that's the thing. Everybody can be their self, bro. I mean, that's basically what you're saying. Everybody can still be their self, but we got a task at the same time.
Facts.
You know, so we all balance each other out, man. So like, in closing, you know, we're in a beautiful new weight room.
Beautiful weight.
Oh nah. Before we go, I gotta say this.
Go ahead.
Because I know we transitioned to the third one, but for me, I just want to speak for myself. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I learned a lot from you this year. I mean, I learned a lot. Like, I've been around basketball, again, I said I'm older than everybody here. I've been around basketball longer than them, but I learned a lot from this man. I mean, the way he prep himself, the way he get prepared for every game. Like, I thought he was Andy Reid out there with the play sheet in his hand. Like, I was like, yo, I never seen coaches do that before. And for me, it was like, I could do the relationship with the kid. I could build a relationship with the kid and get them to the point where I need them to do what they need to do and better themselves on the court and off the court. But the X's and O's this year was like something that I'm learning to do better. Like, even after games, I won by 20, I still came to you and asked you what I did. You know what I mean? To get that feedback, I had to mature and accept the feedback and take it and use it to get better. I mean, I could be like, man, I just won my JV game. I had to win the season with JV. No, I still came to you was like, yo, what I did wrong, or did you see anything I could do better? And everything that you told me, I took it into the next game. And for me, that was my growth this year. That was for me, like, as a coach, going into next year. Yeah, because of the kids we had, I didn't, and me and you talk about all the time, he's like, I know you want to do all this, but I need them to learn how to play basketball. That's the task you gave me from the beginning of the season for JV players. So, no, I didn't throw 1,000 plays at them because they couldn't remember 3 that we had. So I had to use that to my advantage, but I tweaked it in certain games so they could, you know, learn how to play the game of basketball. We had one formation, one set, but we ran it and we did all these other things out of it, which was great. And they got to learn how to play the game. So again, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in that position, to grow, to learn, and do more.
Same here, bro. I appreciate our conversations that we had on and off the court. You're probably the most, and I don't say this about people a lot, you know me. You're probably the most humblest dude I ever met in my life, and like the most.
Who, him?
Yeah.
Okay. Nah,
he can be cocky and arrogant in a smooth way, but other than that, like, probably the most humblest guy I ever talked to in my life, like, about anything, you know what I'm saying? I can always come to you and talk to you about life. And I gotta really say, I look at you as like, you know, we both light-skinned, so like a brother, you feel what I'm saying? I knew you ever since yay high, you know what I'm saying? So, I really appreciate you too, bro, on some real life. I really fucks with you.
And because it's real, you know what I mean? And even before KIPP basketball or KIPP as a whole, I came to Twan about something that was real deep in my life years ago. You know what I mean? And we didn't just build this, relationship this year. You know what I mean? We built the relationship throughout our life growing up in the city of Camden. I think basketball was one of the main things that brought me and Twan together throughout our whole life. Basketball was it. But when it comes to like real relationship, we built it beyond just basketball. And I appreciate you too, because I remember the call I gave Twan before I ever started at KIPP. The first thing I said was I wanted to coach basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yo, Twan, I think I want to play basketball. It was something that dropped in my spirit. I called him, and we got it done. It wasn't no hesitation, as far as, he was like, yeah, just come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're the type of person that I need around the kids. Right. And him believing in me just to be able to sit with y'all is big. You know what I mean? Because y'all went above the level that I went as far as basketball. You know what I mean? Because I built a family at a young age. So basketball was in a rear for me, but Butter, you kept playing basketball. You and Twan, y'all went beyond that, not only playing in college, but, coaching. I think that's big. So I appreciate you, Twan, for giving me the opportunity to just sit in the seat. Also, I appreciate all y'all for just, creating this brotherhood that we have.
I love you, bro. Before Twan and this joint, he still never beat me in Centerville yet, so I just put that.
That's only when I met this Jamaican guy that we don't need to talk about on camera, man. But no, I mean, I can't. I gotta end the episode there because, like, that's what life is about. Like, to me, that's a simple thing, right? Somebody could look you out, look them out, bro. Mm-hmm. Somebody could hold you accountable, hold them accountable, bro. Mm-hmm. Criticize that person. Right. That's your so-called brother or whatever, your family member. Like, it's okay. But all we want to do is take from people.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
I don't understand whether the reason we here. Like, we all still alive because we still serve a purpose on this earth. But it's to give back to whoever, So, listen, I mean this wholeheartedly, bro. Like, remember, I had a JV season last year alone. Listen, y'all all played a huge part in the success that we had this year for a first year program, bro. The immaturity that we had to deal with, the trauma that we had to deal with, you call it what it is. Our kids was looked at as the so-called leftovers in the city. Mm-hmm. That's just the reality.
They say leftovers is good though once you cook it.
Yeah, I love leftovers.
Wait till next season.
Because now I ain't even going. It's gonna be a lot different, man. And just like I said on the Instagram post, I'm gonna say the same thing about y'all. I wouldn't want to build it with nobody else, man. I wouldn't want to build it with nobody else. So appreciate y'all.
We in it for the long run.
All right. As long as we got Coach HAAS on the staff.
Yeah, his crazy.
Be all right. Be all right.